Let's continue to get ready for Week 17 of the 2013 NFL season, and the best way to do it is to do it with a guy who's been there before. He's played and coached some pressure-packed late-season games, and now he breaks it all down for NBC on Football Night in America. Tony Dungy joins us now. Tony, happy holidays. Thanks for taking some time. How are you?
Hey, Mike, doing well. Good to be with you.
Well, great to have you, and we got the game Sunday night, and my first reaction when I heard that Tony Romo wasn't going to play is, well, the Eagles are going to go in there and just roll over the Cowboys. But once I heard you talk about it, once I thought about it, maybe it's not going to be quite so easy. What do you think after having a few days to digest it as to whether or not the Cowboys can win without Romo?
Well, obviously, you'd love to have your starting quarterback and a guy who can put up points and do the things that Tony Romo has done. But I look at Kyle Orton, and I know what he can do. I played against him when he was in Chicago. I was in Indianapolis. He's a good quarterback. He's solid. He's accurate. And they've got some weaponry there. So it's not like he's going to have to do it all by himself. I think in some ways this is going to help Dallas because I believe this will force them to rely on their running game a little bit more, which is what you really need to do if you want to slow Philadelphia down. Don't try to outscore them, but control the ball. So I think they'll feed DeMarco Murray, use the play-action passes, and I think they'll still put up some numbers. I looked at the first game, and that probably was the best the Dallas defense has played all year. They really did a good job on Philadelphia. Now, they don't have a lot of the same personnel here, and Philadelphia with Nick Foles is playing better. But I just think this gives the Cowboys a little different chance, not a better chance necessarily, but a different opportunity to play a different style, and I think it's going to be fine for them.
Do you think there's any chance we see Tony Romo, that this is all just an effort to get people to think that Tony is heroic and he can play through it and he's going to come out the tunnel and play Sunday night?
I don't think we will, and I don't think they should do that. The thing that Tony Romo has when he's on is that mobility, and if that's a little bit lacking, then he probably doesn't give them the best chance. And I've been through this before with teams, and I really think it's best for your team. If I'm the Dallas Cowboys and Jason Garrett, I would have said on Monday, hey, Tony Romo's not playing. We've got to get ready for Kyle Orton, and this is how we're going to win. And this is what we're going to do. And it's not, let's see if Tony can play, and hopefully he can, and we'll see how tomorrow is. I think you just go out, tailor things to Kyle Orton, and say this is our plan this week.
Visiting with Tony Dungy of Football Night in America. Now, one franchise quarterback will play this weekend. Aaron Rodgers returns for the Green Bay Packers after a couple of months off. What will the Packers do to protect Rodgers against another hit that could re-injure that collarbone?
Well, that'll be the interesting thing. He's cleared medically to play, and we'll have to see psychologically if he's good. If he feels like I can go out there and play, I'm not worried about it. But if they're worried about protection, if he's worried about getting hit, then he's not going to be effective. My guess is that he really is ready to play, that not only medically but psychologically, too. The doctors have kind of examined that and feel like, hey, this guy's not going to have any mental problems with going out there and getting hit. So I look for Aaron Rodgers to play well. I think he gives them a shot in the arm. But the thing you don't know is how he's going to be against a live rush for the first time. Is he going to be thinking about it in the back of his mind?
How much should the Packers be concerned about rust since Rodgers hasn't played in 8 weeks now?
Well, you are concerned, but you know he gives you a better chance than Matt Flynn. So even if he's rusty, you got to go out there and give it everything you have. Put the game plan in for him, assuming he's going to be 100%. He's going to miss some throws that he normally would hit. It's going to be like the first regular season game, coming off a preseason where maybe he didn't play that much. But you've got that veteran guy who understands things. The pressure is not going to get to him. So I think right now Green Bay's feeling good and feel like they can go out there and execute.
He's Tony Dungy, NBC's Football Night in America, and another game in the NFC North this weekend that has no playoff implications but is still somewhat significant. Lions go to Minnesota, the final game at the Metrodome. Now, you coached with the Vikings for several years in the 90s. You've taken teams into the Metrodome. What are your thoughts on that building shutting down?
Well, a lot of memories. I can remember being in college. And, matter of fact, when I got recruited to the University of Minnesota, they told me in 1977 that there was going to be a dome and we're going to be playing there. That dome didn't come for about 15 more years. But they ended up getting it. People were not happy at the time. They wanted to be outside. And I remember it being a real struggle to get people to accept it. But once Minnesota kind of changed their style and embraced the noise and the fast track and got some really explosive athletes, I think that allowed that run in the late 90s with Denny Green and Randy Moss and Randall Cunningham and that fast track offense. And it was tough to go up there and play. And I can remember being the defensive coordinator there, knowing that we were going to have that noise factor in our favor and turn our pass rushers loose. Then when I became the head coach at Tampa and we had to go up there, it certainly wasn't fun.
Your friend and former colleague, Leslie Frazier, currently the head coach in Minnesota, the signs don't seem very positive. What's your sense on what happens with him next week? Will he continue as the Vikings coach?
You know, that's difficult to say. I thought they played better late in the year. The one thing that they have had problems with is holding leads. And I think it was your column, that they've lost 5 fourth-quarter leads in the last couple minutes that certainly could have been the difference between being involved in the playoff hunt or not. So that part is difficult. You hear about the owners contacting other people, reaching out to Bill O'Brien at Penn State. I think whenever that happens, it's not a good sign. But they have some things in place. I think if they stay with things and keep that stability, they'd be better off. But I don't know if it's going to happen.
Last minute or two with Tony Dungy of NBC's Football Night in America. Last year, when it comes to diversity in the hiring of coaches and general managers, the NFL was very lacking. I know some efforts have been made to improve that. What happens if it doesn't improve this year? Will there be changes made, for example, to the Rooney Rule or other measures put in place to enhance diversity?
I don't think there's anything you can do other than keep getting the information out. The committee I'm involved with the NFL, that's one of the great things I think we are doing, is coming up with names, not only minority candidates, but other coaches and GMs who might be a little bit under the radar. I always go back to Ozzie Newsome hiring John Harbaugh, and no one really saw that coming. No one thought that, hey, here's a guy who's been a special teams coach for a long while, 1 year as a defensive coach, and now he's the head coach. Where did he come from? But Ozzie Newsome kind of dug under the surface and went under the radar and got a guy that's been a fantastic head coach. And I think that's what the process is all about, and that's the one thing that will help diversity. If people kind of get off the track of, I'm just going to hire the most well-known person or the biggest name that I can get, look for good people, and that's the only way this is going to get solved.
Well, it all gets started very soon. The job openings will come Monday. At least one job's already open, and we'll see how it all plays out. Tony, thanks as always for your time. We'll see you this weekend. Enjoy the rest of your day.
All right, you too, Mike. Looking forward to seeing you Sunday.
All right, that's Tony Dungy, NBC's Football Night in America.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings on Audience.